So good morning. Good morning, scholars. Good morning, faculty, staff, district leaders, state leaders. I am honored to be up here sharing this information with our community as a whole. My name is Dr. Carlos M. Cotto Jr. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Innovation, Equity, and Engagement for the Schenectady City School District. And as I begin this presentation, I want to start by just sharing our pillars, which I believe our pillars align well with the MBK and the overall initiative as it relates to the milestones, as well as the priorities that we have here in New York State, which focus on students and graduate success, passionate people, which as we do our call to action today, we are looking for those passionate people in this auditorium and looking for us to work together to put our hands around these young men here and guide them to success. Partnerships with families and community. And again, as we build this, we are looking to connect with many community agencies and organizations, again, to wrap around and build that kind of web of support for our students here in the Schenectady City School District. And then ultimately, just the efficiency of systems. So working together, collaborating, partnering, and bringing like minds together to move this agenda and prepare these young men for college and career. Why MBK? We as a district and community seek to change the narrative of boys and young men of color and all students by closing and eliminating the opportunity gaps they face and helping them to reach their full potential. Many times we use the word more likely to be suspended or expelled from school, more likely to drop out, less likely to graduate from high school, more likely to be unemployed, in prison, or die at an early age. As we change this narrative, we want to go with less likely to be suspended and expelled from school, less likely to drop out, more likely to graduate from high school, and less likely to be unemployed, in prison, or die at an early age. The data has stayed somewhat consistent in reference to overall graduation. As you see within this slide, in comparison to our black cohort, our Hispanic cohort, and our white cohort, we have a discrepancy of 15 to 20% as it relates to overall graduation rate. And then our dropout rate doubles for our black males, and it almost triples for our Hispanic males within the community as a whole. My Brother's Keeper initiative. In September 2014, President Obama issued a challenge to cities, towns, counties, and tribes across the country to become MBK communities. This challenge represented a call to action for all members of our communities, including mayors, as they often sit at the intersection of many of the vital forces and structural components needed to enact sustainable change through policy, programs, and partnerships. I'd like to share a video.
4 years ago, in the East Room of the White House, we launched the My Brother's Keeper initiative. It was a declaration that in a country as prosperous and dynamic as ours, we all have an obligation to lift up communities that have consistently had the odds stacked against them. It was an ambitious call to action to make sure that every boy and young man of color in this country has the opportunity to achieve their dreams. Today, this work continues as an initiative of the Obama Foundation.
This is my platform where I can make my dreams come true. It's a brotherhood, it's a support system, it's an opportunity, it's life-changing, it's everything.
Now with this program, I can talk and you can hear my voice. Before, I can express myself the way I wanted to.
It makes total sense that now, as part of the Obama Foundation, the work of MBK continues, and it's woven into our broader work about leadership development and civic engagement.
The Obama Foundation is all about equipping, inspiring, empowering the next generation of young leaders who can solve problems. The My Brother's Keeper Alliance is about making sure no one is left behind. So the missions marry together and merge together quite nicely. If we're going to have leaders that are going to solve problems, we need leaders of all stripes, of all colors, from all communities, and we're going to do that work together.
It's something that everyone should adopt. It's something that every city should have because it's life-changing.
I think it's very important. stories to be told, because that same struggle that we face, we can now reach back and pull another young mother through.
The next chapter of the My Brother's Keeper Alliance is very exciting. We're going to go deep in communities, we're going to lock arms with them, and we're going to be partners in their success. And we're going to do this work slowly, methodically, while also being urgent about the issues that our communities face.
We're going to most definitely inspire a lot of people. And that's the joy of this, seeing smiles on faces that normally wouldn't have them.
I have always believed that the single most important task we have as a nation is to make sure our young people can go as far as their dreams and hard work will take them. This is something I will be invested in for the rest of my life, and I look forward to continuing the journey with all of you.
So as we just heard, My Brother's Keeper is about removing the barriers our youth face. It's about building strong bridges to opportunities for boys and girls, young men and young women, no matter what their backgrounds or the circumstances into which they were born. It is important to invest in what works, acting with a sense of urgency, basing strategies on data and evidence, and having the courage to call out and tear down discrimination in every system and policy where it shows up. As we take on this challenge here in Schenectady, we are going to anchor all of our opportunities with our students with the national MBK milestones. First, ensuring all children enter school ready to learn. Second, ensuring all children read at grade level by 3rd grade. Ensuring youth graduate from high school ready for college and career. 4, ensuring all youth complete post-secondary education or training. 5, ensuring all youth out of school are employed. And 6, ensuring all youth remain safe and get a second chance if they make a mistake. Later on in this presentation, you'll hear some of those strategies and those things that we're doing currently to hit upon these milestones. We will also look to anchor on the priorities here in New York State, which are ensuring equitable access to high-quality schools and programs, expanding prevention, early warnings, and intervention services, using differentiated approaches based on need and culture, responding to structural and institutional racism, making comprehensive and coordinated support services widely available, and engaging families and community in trusting and respectful ways. As we launch into the My Brother's Keeper Challenge, what's unique in this situation is there's 31 districts, or 31 members that have been identified as communities of MBK. And in order to join that growing initiative to improve outcomes for boys and young men of color, the first step that we must take is to have a commitment from our superintendent and our mayor. And we are excited to announce that our superintendent, Anibal Soler Jr., and our mayor, Gary McCarthy, have taken the first step in joining the New York State MBK Community Network. The reason for today's event is really to relaunch what's been going on here already in Schenectady, but also a call to action. And as we do that call to action, we have invited multiple stakeholders within this community, and we need you. We need you to build on this overall framework that we're looking to put in place. So we are seeking support from our community leaders to lay the groundwork as we collectively work together to establish our Schenectady MBK action plan to become an MBK community. We believe that together as a community, we can and will achieve improved outcomes for our boys and young men of color. The steps that we must take in order to get there, one was getting that commitment from both the district and the city. Our second one is the largest one, and that's that commitment from the community as a whole. So we do have this call to action today, looking for members within the community as a whole to support these efforts in whatever way that you can. but ideally we do need you at the table so that we can wrap our arms around these young men and young ladies as we continue this initiative. We are convening a local action summit that will be starting in March, and we will be
young men from, I think, Oneida. I think I saw some Oneida middle school students. That's right. And if I'm correct, the majority of our young men who have been part of this My Brother's Keeper are from the Schenectady High School, so let's give it up to them. And we have, I think, a small group that just came in from Mount Pleasant as well, which is where we're hosting the event. So I don't want to lose sight of them. We're here for you guys today. We're making a call to action to the community. I want to thank the mayor who, when I approached him on this initiative, without hesitation said, sign us up. We're in this work together. And that's kind of the mantra we've done. I got here in July, and what I found was a community that was eager to work together to support its most precious resource, the children of Schenectady. And so while we do this work and we're focusing right now today on young men, at the end of the day, it's about all of our kids. But today we're talking about the young men in the room, making sure that you have all the opportunities to succeed here in Schenectady and here in the City School District. The biggest thing here, and the largest thing I don't want us to lose sight of, is that each of you have a story to tell, and it's our job to make sure that when you graduate, because that is the first milestone here in Schenectady is graduation, that every other opportunity that you have after you graduate, every door opens up for you, and that you have adults right here. And I don't know if you know who's in the room with you, but you have the mayor of Schenectady here. Mayor, can you just stand up so the kids can see you? You have, and these individuals are going to speak as well, but you have the Assistant Commissioner for the New York State Education Department who leads this work of My Brother's Keeper across the state, Dr. Neil Nawson. You have our board president, Kathy Lewis, and some board members can also stand as well. There's so many of them, I'm not going to say all their names, but we have city council people, and if you've watched anything in our city, it's changing. The representation is changing. So city council people, can you stand up for me, please? Their focus is changing. They're having different conversations. They're focused on the entire city, making sure there's representation. So I applaud them for coming. All district staff, if you can just stand up quickly for district staff. And then we have some other key people from the community here who I haven't met everybody, so I apologize if I don't see you, but I do want to recognize you in the audience. I do see some new faces that represent our children and our community, so I thank you guys well for being here as well. So there's one thing I want to make sure that I'm clear about, and it's an African proverb that I was exposed to many, many years ago that still resonates with me. And it says, and it goes like this: I am because we are. And today, we are my brother's keeper. And so with that, I'm going to transition to our mayor and have him come up and say some remarks, okay?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. He's got a tough job. He's doing a great job, though, for this community, and I'm proud to be here along with my colleagues at City Hall. It's an exciting day. The one thing I'd like to just make sure everybody understands is you've looked at this narrative, the slideshow, and it's detailed a plan, and it's outlining some goals and objectives. You shouldn't think that that's cast in stone. We need your input, your thoughts, your ideas, things that will help facilitate the goals that you're setting for yourself, and hopefully this is going to open doors for you that you will be able to look out and do things that you never thought were possible. And I'd like to just ask, talk about some of the fundamental things is I want people to graduate. Who here is going to make a commitment that they're going to graduate from high school here in Schenectady? Come on. Put your hands up. I want that to happen. The superintendent wants it to happen. Everybody here wants to be part of that and facilitate an environment that you're able to do that. And after graduation, you can go out in life, you can have some fun, you can do great things, and you'll look back at the time that you spent here in the Schenectady City School District with fond memories that, again, that we've made that possible. So I look forward to working with the superintendent, with other community leaders, and I want you to just feel that the city, my door is open, that if you have ideas or things that you think that I can do or the city can do, feel free to reach out, either directly or with your teachers or building principals. We want to be partners in this. We want to make it happen. Enjoy your day and stay safe.
Thank you, Mayor, for your comments. So the next individual that I'm going to introduce is my boss. She leads all of my bosses, to be honest with you. And that's our Board of Education President, Kathy Lewis, who, come on up, Kathy. The work that I do is not possible without the great support of a Board of Education. And although she's our president, I'm going to tell you, I have 7 very strong women who are committed to making sure that each of you in the audience graduates and that our school system continues to rise up. So, Kathy?
Good morning, everyone. Happy MBK Day. I think that February 15th hereafter should be known as MBK Day here in Schenectady. Perhaps I should take this mask down. You could probably hear me better. I am thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to welcome all of the city, state, and community partners that we have in this area, and want to thank them for their participation with this initiative in the school district. MBK program was first introduced here in 2018 with a small grant. And I can recall, since I have a connection to Union College, I would see students getting off a bus at Union College, I believe with Brian Ledbetter standing over there, and they would be, that was initially the start of the program. And so I'm thrilled that Union College was a partner in the program, and I am so glad to see the partnership expanding to so many other areas with the city and the city council and all of the other community partners that we have. We are most thankful for their participation in the program and look forward to these other deadlines that Carlos put up on here to see how these will be achieved. So once again, I want to thank those people who have been able to join us here today. And on behalf of the current board and past board members, we had past board members very interested in this particular project, the MBK project, and we want to go forward with all of the backing of all of those individuals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Board President. This next individual you may not know, many of you students won't know at all, but there's many layers to this. So you heard the president, former President Obama, talk about the national work, and then there's what happens here in New York State, which is the state education work. And so the next individual that I'm going to have come up and provide some remarks and greetings, he leads this My Brother's Keeper work across New York State education. And so there's those 31 communities that we're looking to hopefully become the 32nd community. Dr. Neil Nawson leads that work. He meets with us, he brings in youth from across the state, and he makes sure that we put a priority on changing the narrative for young men of color in all of our communities, but particularly where the majority of our students represent that subgroup. So without further ado, Dr. Neil Nawson.
Well, good morning, Schenectady. Good morning. It is great to be here. I have been in Albany for about 4 years, and this is my first time being invited to this community, and I am excited to be here. So thank you, Superintendent Solor. What I am getting to see today is the power of partnership, and that inspires me. I mean, you have the mayor, the chief of police, you've got city council, you've got school district, all partnering together to ensure that our young people live into their born brilliance. So could we just give a round of applause for that? And I said born brilliant for a reason. And that's because I want our young people to know that you were in fact born brilliant. So I'd like to do a call and repeat and just look at each other and just say, born brilliant. Do that now. Now, just say, I know you got the mask on, but just say it a little bit louder so that the press can hear. All right, that works for me. Thank you. And see, since all human beings are born brilliant, and as time goes on, we see less and less of their brilliance in school, that concerns us. And so what My Brother's Keeper says is, we want to help you keep your brilliance and live into it. All right? You need to keep it. You don't need to dim your light. In fact, we're going to shine the light on your light to move you where you want to go. And that means exposing you to places, people, and things that you might not have access to. Does that make sense so far? All right, all right. So the MBK what? This is an outcomes-based initiative. So when Superintendent Solar called me, because we already had a relationship, somebody say relationship. So young people, I need you to say this. Relationship. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's going to carry you the rest of your life. Very few people can call me and say, in 2 days, come over to Schenectady. But we have relationship, right? Right? So it's about outcomes. And we want you to live into the outcome that you set for yourself. And if you start to get off track, we put you back on track. Does that make sense? Excellent, excellent. The other thing I want to just say is that a rising tide lifts all boats. And so while we're doing this work here and the focus is on young men of color, you have the flexibility to bring in anybody you want, because what you found is that when one group is not doing well, it's a systems problem. You're not meeting the needs of the entire population. Okay, so we're shining the light on that. The last thing I'm going to say, because Superintendent Solar gave me a time limit, right, and I'm working with the time limit. The last thing I'm going to say is that the most successful MBK communities rally around something. And it's the young people that they also have like a call and repeat. So I'm going to ask, since it's been the first time I've been in a large group in a while, particularly in a school, is that when I say MBK, you say all day. And when I say MBK, then you repeat and say every day. So it'll sound like this. MBK all day, MBK every day. Can you do that for me to make it worth my trip from coming to Schenectady today? All right, thank you, thank you. MBK? All day. MBK? Every day. MBK? All day. MBK? Every day. Thank you, it's great to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Alston. The next individual that I'm bringing up has been leading this work here in Schenectady since 2018, and he'll be instrumental in moving this overall initiative for the years to come. So next up is our MBK program specialist, Mr. Brian Ledbetter.
All right. Man, listen, this is the most beautiful thing that I've seen in a very long time for a number of reasons. Mainly, I'll start with the fact and the way that I got to be standing in front of you right now. There are several people in this very room that supported me as a child, as a young man, and as an adult that paved the way and gave me opportunities to do the things that mean something to me in my heart, which is this work right here. So I want to give a round of applause for Al Tompkins, Damani Farley, Ebony Belmar, Dennis Green, Andrea Tote, literally everybody on this side of the room. Two of my best friends, Stephen Thomas and Anthony Armstead, support me in everything that I do, the guys back there. So I'm up here, I just want to let everyone know what's kind of coming down the pipeline in terms of programming. We're having a 3- and 4-year-old monthly support session in our elementary schools. It'll be at Lincoln, Keene, Pleasant Valley, MLK, Page, and Yates. And we'll also, during our break, we'll have a STEAM camp that will run between Lincoln and Keene. We'll start there. 50 students, pre-K through 2nd grade, at Lincoln's campus, and then 50 students in grades 3 through 5 at Keene's campus. The camp will run from 8:30 to 2:30 Monday through Friday, and they'll engage in various activities around STEAM, digital design and 3D printing, coding, engineering with bike kits, audio production, and esports. So if you like esports and you have young kids, please bring them out for that. And there will be the same camp running during April break at all of the elementary school buildings. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. So as mentioned earlier about the union piece, that's the baby. That's the baby of this work. And we're seeing that the babies are growing up into young men, and it is a beautiful thing to see. A lot of what happened in that space and time was a ton of exposure experiences, a ton of very rich conversations, and we got to see and to know each other, and a lot of relationships were built. On one hand, you have the mentors that were Union College students. We had a Rhodes Scholar, a part of the program. We had several mechanical engineers. Some mechanical engineers turned teachers from being a part of the program, which was great. And they still keep in touch with a number of the young men that were a part of the program from its inception, and I think that is wonderful. So the great thing that happens is that you get to see young men's talent and the things that they're passionate about come out in our circle conversations and our off conversations and in the conversations that we have while we're eating and dining together. So the 2 young men that I'm about to bring up, out of all of the students, started to show their willingness to speak on behalf of the group, which I think is very important. Some can capture things in a way that, only a person within the work can kind of identify. And the 2 young men that are gonna come up here, one after the other, they're both seniors now, they're both doing really well. We have Nate Dale and Trey Toney. Come on up. So this may be their first public speaking event, and what a doozy to have for your first one. But we're gonna support them and show them some love. You got it. I'll be right here with you, Jim.
One thing I want to say about the MBK program and what it has done for me is that this program has taught me so much about just being confident in what I want to do in life, respect the people that I meet, and that just respect everybody that gives me respect, honestly. But one of the biggest things that this program has ever done for me is give me the friends that I really do appreciate. Because honestly, without these guys over here, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't even be standing here. Without this guy, I wouldn't even be standing here, honestly. And yeah, I just want to say that thank you to all my guys over there. Y'all know who y'all are. And I just want to say I'm very appreciative for being in the MBK program, because I joined this program about 4 years ago. And back then, looking to myself now, I wouldn't believe that I would be able to stand up like this at all. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for your time.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it fell off.
So just project. Just make sure take your mask off and project.
Hello, how are you? This is a beautiful thing, man. A beautiful thing. I didn't mean to steal what he said, but This really is, and I'm excited. I'm nervous too. My heart's beating very fast, but I'm glad to be here. I'm really glad to be here, especially with my friends since 8th grade. And, I'm glad to be in a room with a lot of important people. And as I see this side and I see that side, my hope, especially with MBK, is to this side to become this side. You know? So I believe that these young men, the 5th graders, and especially the high schoolers that are with me, I believe they can become this side, because sometimes you don't know your own voice. And sometimes it takes somebody like this guy, or somebody like me, or somebody like them, the high schoolers, to show what you really have, to, what's the word I'm looking for? To like shine the light on what you truly are, you know? So with that being said, I'm so glad to be here. My experience in MBK, I've been in MBK for 4 years, since 9th grade, and before 9th grade, I was very quiet. I didn't know what I wanted to be. You know, I didn't have a dream of sorts. I was always moving around. I lived in Maine, I lived in Albany, I lived everywhere. Went to 9 different schools, and I never sat down and really thought what I could be. And I never had a voice. And in 8th grade, I couldn't be standing here before. I couldn't even be sitting here with the 5th grade, because I would be very nervous. But MBK made me realize my true voice. And I love to speak now, and I love to sit here in front of all these important people, sit in front of all these kids and tell them that your voice really does matter. You just got to put forth the effort to believe in yourself and believe in other people to believe in you. Does that make sense? I hope that does. So yes, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you for coming, and I love each and every single one of you for just being here, because MBK is very important. And also, sorry, I know I got time, but not just for the brothers per se, I also excited for MBK to grow to have a My Sister's Keeper for women too. Because it's just as important as men, because women are very, very just important as men, and having both, what we can spark, unknown. So thank you for having me speak. You guys have a beautiful day. I'm glad for you guys to come out here. Oh, also, my name is Trey Donovan Tillman. Just wanted to throw out there, you know, just in case you forgot. Have a beautiful day.
I think we lost the mic here. We've got two videos real quick, and then we're going to do the unveiling.
I was in 7th grade at the time. I heard about My Brother's Keeper through my other friend, and he told me, yo, there's this thing called My Brother's Keeper, you should go to it. We talked about it, and then like a day or two later, we ended up going to Union College. That's where they set everything up. There's the room that we used to go to. It was the Unity room. And we would read this book, Young Men of Purpose. We would read that, and it was so interesting because of how much it described me. Like, I feel like in the book, I could relate to a lot of things that happened. It was important that I could see myself in the book.
In 8th grade, I was very immature. I wasn't going to my classes. I wasn't paying attention. I was just not focused. Grade-wise, when I was a freshman, we're talking like D's, D minuses, F's, every bad grade in the book you can name. But until I started going to My Brother's Keepers, my brothers, they told me I need to focus up. We were doing educational learning experiences, and we was going over schoolwork. They were helping me. They were telling me what to do. They were showing me love, motivation. 8th grade through 12th grade, I've matured a lot. I recently purchased my first car. I'm getting ready to get accepted into college. I was the head captain on the football team for varsity. I've seen a huge impact on my grades throughout my high school career, so I'm very glad I stuck with MBK. It has helped me a lot.
I was in 7th grade at the time. I heard about my brother's keeper.
It's okay. So you've heard some great speakers. We've heard more importantly, for some amazing young men who have a powerful voice. Each one of these young men would probably give you a testimony that was similar. One thing that, if you know anything about any type of movement, any type of initiative, is you need an identity. You need something that people can see, whether it's a mantra, like MBK all day, MBK every day, right? Or it's a visual. And as a former art teacher, I'm always big on visuals, so I gotta say that. And so one thing that I charged Dr. Cotto, Mr. Ledbetter, and the youth and the committee is to identify what's our brand, what's our logo, what are we gonna do? You know, young men love wearing apparel and gear that represent something, right? Think about kids who play in sports. You know, if you have an identity, you see that in the community, you see kids wearing it, you say, oh, that kid's a part of this program. And so we had the young men, who they're gonna unveil today for you, is our official MBK Schenectady logo. So with that, come on up, go ahead. And so they spent some major time working on this. I think you're pretty happy with the product. You see the district's identity in there. Importantly, you see our Young Men of Color's identity in there, and you see a brotherhood, a fellowship that we're looking to incorporate. And so as you start to see these young men in the community, you'll start to see t-shirts and apparel, and this will be, you know, something that we share with the community. So we're excited. So thank you both, gentlemen, for sharing that. And yeah. And so hopefully the next time you see our young men, they'll have some ties with some nice logos and some cool gear. So thank you both. We're gonna just close out today. Before everyone goes, we do want one large group picture with our guests joining with our young men of color here on the stage. And then we're gonna send everyone back because we do gotta do this thing called teaching and learning and get back into school. So with that, let's have our young men join us. Mr. Ledbetter, if you wanna get our young men up here.